Did you know that more millionaires will be created during this recession than any other time in our history? Hi, I'm Alexandra, back with the third installment of Turning Your Passion into Profit. In this video, I'm going to let you in on even more behind-the-scenes tips and tools from the Small Business Academy. I'm going to share with you some of the most profitable business building strategies and give you another short course. However, this time the topic is how to get traffic into your business using business physics so you can get in front of a lot more people who want to buy your products and services. Before we get moving too quickly, I want to stop and offer you a big thank you again. There have been over 1,000 amazing, encouraging, insightful, and enthusiastic comments and questions about both videos. I just want you to know that your words are absolutely the fuel that keeps me motivated and inspired to create even more tools for your business success, so thank you so much. Now, if you haven't seen the first two videos, just look to the right of this one and you'll see links to videos number 1 and video number 2. You should probably watch both of them before you watch this one, and those links will take you right to them. Now, believe it or not, I read each and every one of your comments, and just like before, you've had some pretty specific questions about creating a more profitable business, and as it happens, I can help. So before I start the short course on how to get more traffic into your business, I want to take a minute to answer some questions about great ways to use the marketing message you created in the last video. I'm going to show you what it takes to market your message and make it into an attention grabber and memorable. So when you're thinking about taking your marketing message to the next level, consider this. Think about the potential impact your product or services could have on the daily lives of your customers. Let's call this the transformation. Show your customers or clients how your product or service will solve their problem, meet their most urgent need, and in what way it will improve the daily quality of their lives. My friend Andy Jenkins puts it this way: what story can you help them tell once they own the stuff you sell? So when you're creating your marketing message, you always want your goal to be to help your customers by giving them the information they need to make the right decision. You do this by helping them see what their experience will be once they own your product or service. Use written specifications of the features of your product or service, and then show them with images how your product or service can transform their experience once they own your product or service. In other words, in what ways will their daily experience be transformed? Now, before you get all stressed, just remember the marketing message formula you learned in the last video. The first time you create your marketing message is always the hardest, and each one will get easier and better until you're doing it with excellence, like a pro. Now, just a word of warning. Like before, I'm going to move pretty fast, so I can give you as much information as I can. Remember, you can always watch this video more than once if you missed something on the first time. So let's talk about what you're going to do with your marketing message now that you've created it. The primary goal of owning a business is to help people and to generate money. Your marketing message is the invitation to your customers and the introduction to your customers of your brand, products, and services. So now that you have your message, how can you use it to get more customers in the door? We've covered a few ways in the second video, but I want to tell you about a real-life example of one of my clients that just 2 months ago found himself about 45 days from being out of business. That's all the cash he had left on hand before he would have to close his restaurant and bar for good. And because he had not obeyed my cardinal rule of not taking on debt and using your own assets to fund your business, he was also in danger of losing his home as well. So the first thing I had him do was create his marketing message using the formula I've already showed you. Because he had virtually no capital and very little time, I had him get creative. Remember, the most effective marketing tools and techniques are usually free and at least very low cost. And this technique is one that any business can use, no matter if you sell a product, a service, or even have an online business. The principles are the same and they work for any business type. So on with the story. I suggested that he pick a Friday night about 2 or 3 weeks away and start telling him, the customers that did come into his restaurant, now that night he was going to have a very special event at his restaurant in just a few weeks, but seating was limited and by reservation only. The reservation list was full in just 72 hours after the chef and I first spoke. Because he was in the food industry and that organics is one of the things people have not cut back on during this recession, I suggested that my client, the chef, take some time and visit his local farmer's market to see if there was a local farmer that sold organic food. Well, sure enough, he found a farmer who was also struggling to expand his market base, even though the quality of his food was exceptional. The farmer's market was on Thursday, which meant that the farmer was going home with a lot of fresh organic food and no place to sell it until the next week, by which time it would most likely spoil. My suggestion was that my client, the restaurateur, and the farmer team up and help each other out to mutually bolster each other's business. Here are the keys to this story, and I suggest you take some notes. Both shared a common customer base, and both were in the same industry, but neither was directly competitive with the other. Both were potentially dependent on each other as a supplier and vendor. You could call it a symbiotic relationship. I'm sure you could think of maybe a few for your own business. The farmer supplied the organic food for the night of the event that he did not sell and the day before at the market to the chef, along with a card for each table. On each card was a short marketing message for the farmer and his contact information. The chef called the local press and invited them to cover the event with one caveat. Whoever arrived first with a camera crew would get an amazing and exclusive opportunity to come inside to cover the event, which also included access to the kitchen and personal interviews with the chef and the organic farmer. I also suggested to my client, the chef, that using the marketing message he had created, he contact all local civic organizations and let them know about his special event and ask them to pass on the word to their local members. As a rule, local civic clubs tend to be very supportive of their own, so use this as a good resource for publicity. The day of the event, all 3 local television stations showed up with camera crews 5 hours early in an attempt to be the first and get that exclusive story, which became a story in and of itself. The night was such a success that after the expenses, the chef and the farmer made enough money that they decided to do it all over again the very next night. In just 48 hours, using just a few of the physics principles of success from the Small Business Academy, the chef and the organic farmer made enough money to cover their business expenses for the next 6 months and went from being a small restaurant and a local organic farm that nobody had heard of to the hottest place in town that everybody was talking about. The demand for the farmer's goods has been so great that he has now opened a fruit, herb, and vegetable market at his farm on the days of the week he's not at the farmer's market. So let's break down each of the principles that the chef used to turn his business into an overnight success. First, he partnered with someone who shared his customer base but was not a competitor. He created an event at his place of business that was mutually beneficial to himself, his partner, and their shared customer base. He used resources that were available at no cost, and in the case of the farmer, would have gone to waste anyway if he had not used them. The chef used 3 motivating factors to get the local press to cover the event. Fear that another station would beat them out of an exclusive story. Personal power, that the first to arrive would get the hottest story of the day. And freedom, that the ratings of the winning station would be higher, thus bringing additional local advertising dollars. The chef created dishes that in appearance and taste were of the highest quality and were served with excellence. The event was limited to one night and was a reserved seating on a first-come, first-reserved basis, which created a feeling of scarcity and generated interest. Finally, the chef and the farmer reinvested their profits from the first night into one additional night. The chef continues to create new and amazing dishes and consistently serves only the finest organic food that is served with excellence. The farmer has now a steady new client in the chef, which gives them both more public credibility. Now, here's the kicker. Neither the chef nor the farmer actually laid out any additional cash for this event that literally transformed both their businesses and reputations. They just used the principles of business physics, and you can too. In case you think you need to have some special skills to pull something off like this, think again. The chef had never done anything like this, but before he was motivated by fear of losing his business, his livelihood, and even possibly his home. So much so, in fact, that he was willing to step out of his comfort zone and try something that he'd never done before to save his business and turn his life around. You can do this too. It's so much easier than you think. And the Small Business Academy actually walks you through step by step. So what have you got to lose? No, really. What will it take to get you moving and turn your business into a huge success? I know that this video has been fairly dense, so feel free to come back and watch it again as often as you need. And I hope one of the big takeaways is that business physics has an endless possibilities in how it can transform your business and your personal financial security. Let's do a quick review. In video number 1, we talked about how so many people are afraid of owning and operating their own business, and that it's leaving huge opportunities for you to clean up while others sit on their hands and wait. In video number 2, I showed you how to create financial security for your business and your family. Grow your customer base by keeping it personal, nurturing personal relationships to create repeat customers, and staying in touch with your best customers. And the feature advantage benefit formula to start your own way to creating your very own marketing blueprint like a pro. And in this video, I showed you how to use your marketing message to generate profit, grow your customer base all in one day, and how to get others to advertise your business for you. So once again, I'm off to make the last video in this series for you. And as before, it'll take a couple of days to get it ready and off to your inbox. I love to read each and every one of your comments, so please leave one below and let me know what you thought of this last video and any questions that you might have. Until next time, don't just do it with excellence.